I'll kick us this week.
Yeah, you can.
Let's do it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Budgy Smugglers. What's going on? You're with me, Stephen Bradshaw. It's Jeremy Dooley. How are you, Dools?
Good, mate.
How's life? How's Big Papa life going for you?
Good. It's been great. Did my first overnight gig, so that was a nice little sort of tester just to see, how it would go. The guilt was real.
Yeah.
It was like, as I tucked myself into bed and knowing I was going to get a full night's sleep. But yeah, it's been going great. He's great. Everything's going nicely.
It's good to hear. It was the best sleep you've had in weeks, was it?
It was pretty good, yeah. It was pretty good. I definitely woke up halfway through the night. I'm like, where the hell am I? And just instinctively got out of bed to go to the bassinet, which obviously wasn't there. There was just another comedian in another bed. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. How was your week? Yeah, well, you went away. You went to the Grampians. Romantic week.
A romantic week away. Did a lot of hiking. Did some wineries. Did a lot of nothing. Mm-hmm. Did a lot of something. No, it's an inappropriate way to start a sporting podcast, but yeah, no, it was good. It was good to get away. We're like a week out from the comedy festival. Hadn't had a break in a while, so nice to just get away and chill out for a few days.
Absolutely, very nice, very nice. I can't say I've ever gone up there for recreation.
Really?
No.
I go up there all the time, camping and all that kind of stuff.
No, I'm not into camping.
You're not a camper?
No.
Really?
Camping's just cosplaying being homeless.
No, I love you getting the swag. You want to talk about good sleep. It's nothing better than getting into a swag at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know. Getting into a bed is probably better.
No, I'm not. I'd pick, if I could sleep, the best sleeps I ever have are in the swag.
Wow.
Yeah, just cocoon-like, warm, cozy.
Rent-free.
Yeah, I think, why don't more homeless people use swags? Why do they all use the dome tents?
Yeah, I don't know. Are they pretty cumbersome to lug around, a swag?
It would be a real bitch to sort of carry a swag around in a shop and shop. Yeah.
There you go. What a start to the show. And gigs. Have you had gigs?
I did 0 gigs last week.
Yeah, wow.
So not one. There was one on Saturday night that got cancelled, which I wasn't against, to be honest. So yeah,
a Saturday night gig getting cancelled.
Yeah. Comedian put on a show, didn't sell any tickets. So that one got canned, but I was kind of happy just to take a week off.
Sometimes the gig getting cancelled is the best feeling in the world.
It was one of those.
It's just like, oh, yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, thank God for that. It doesn't happen too often, but when you're right, when it does, it's 50-50. Sometimes it's really disappointing when you're really gearing up for something, and then other times it's like, thank God.
Mm.
Yeah. What about you? What gigs? You said you were away?
Yeah, I was away. So I did a drop-in on Tuesday night at Lido.
Oh, yeah, nicely.
Which was awesome. It was a hot night. It was a really, really hot show. It's a kill box.
Yeah.
That gig. Like it's a small gig, but it's always full. The audience is always really warm and super into, and it was a good lineup.
Who else was on?
Damo Power did a drop in.
Nice.
Gillian Cosgriff was on. Simon Hughes was on. Seren J. Mana was on. Tim Hewitt was on. It was a
all killer, no filler,
stacked lineup. So it was great. It was a lot of fun. Nick Kwan took the reins emceeing because Verdi, who normally runs it and hosts it, I think over in Adelaide. So It was very, very good.
That is good. I'm there. I might be there this week. Fuck. I think I'm there tomorrow.
There you go.
Which is good.
It's
a reminder.
It's a great gig. Always, you never know, especially this time of year, who's going to drop in. So
yeah, it's a good time of year to be gigging because lots of people doing the drop-ins, getting ready for the fest, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 acts who weren't on the poster were Damien Power, Gillian Cosgriff, and myself. Yep. So, just big dogging it,
Big dogs. And
I think last time I did that gig, Hannah Gadsby was the drop-in as well. So it's you never know who's going to be there. And then Thursday night, I was in Seymour at Trawool. Technically not Seymour. It's like a Trawool, it's sort of a next sort of township. Doing a gig there, Trawool Estate. And that was again, hot crowd. It was a lot of fun, good banter.
Love that.
And they really look after it. Like when you do some gigs, you know, it's kind of either whoever's running it in terms of the venue, just like, like there's a corner, go do it. But every now and then you do a gig and they're like, what do you need? What can we get you? Like, what's on your rider beforehand? Yep. And so that was good. You know, it was myself and Jared Goundry on the road. We're not drinkers or anything like that. So it was probably the most disappointing look from a venue manager of it. Like, what do you mean you just want a can of Coke? Like, that's all I wanted.
That's it? That was your entire rider?
That was all I wanted. That's all I needed. He gave me 2 of the mini ones. I'll prefer the mini cans because, I don't know, you can punch through them and they're just good.
Yep.
So that was good. That was great. A lot of great people there. A lot of very good banter back and forth. And then Saturday night, I was in New South Wales. I was up in Wagga Wagga. So good. They named it twice.
That's the one.
Whoa, that was wild.
Tell us about it. I love Wagga. Anytime I can get up there.
It was borderline crowd control, to be fair. So, like, we were on there and it was a sold-out crowd. I think there was probably 150, 160 in the venue, and it was slamming. But it was a really interesting demographic. There was some people who were sort of a little bit older, but then the front few rows were, they would have been 19, 20 years and hammered. They'd been drinking at a birthday. A lot of them were in fancy dress and they were loose. I've never had someone on their phone in the front row to add me on social media, show me that they've added me on social media while I'm on stage.
Love that.
So, and it was not a, hey, let's add me. I was in the middle of doing some stuff. It was great. I reckon the venue lost a lot of money on broken glasses from that front few rows. So it was a lot of fun. They were great. The venue was fantastic at Thirsty Crow. They really get it. You know, some venues, especially when you're doing a brewery gig, or a gig that's not in a proper dedicated venue, they're doing stuff like, as soon as the show starts, let's make a cocktail, and they're shaking the icer and stuff like that. But they knew exactly what they were doing. So that was a huge amount of fun. A lot of great people there. There was one dude who looked like a Viking, and he was so drunk that he nearly not just knocked the cameras down, but nearly knocked like tables down while the table was down. It was wild. So it was a fun gig and a good few days on the road.
Apart from the ad, did you get any good heckles?
There was one or two I had to, so I was like hosting the show. So I get on the top when I'm hosting, and I do sort of 20 minutes and just sort of trying different things, having a chat, finding out who's in the room. There's one guy who was a little bit lippy, and I sort of like put him away.
Nice.
No, just gently early in the show, just to let him know, hey, shut up.
Yeah.
And then he kind of forgot after I'd gotten off stage. And so the next act, he wasn't too bad. But then by the time Jared Goundry was back on stage, he sort of got his confidence back to start yapping, and he would not shut up. And it was at the point where one of the other audience members, so I was way at the back of the room, I'd kind of clocked off at this point. But I looked up on stage and I was like, oh, this is starting to get to that real sort of fork in the road, dicey moment here, because one of the other audience members just yelled like, oi, we didn't fucking pay to hear you talk. We want to hear the comedians.
Yes, love that. I love that when you can get the whole audience turned against a certain, and that usually puts them in place.
It was great
when they do that work for you.
And it did. That guy shut up because the voice that yelled out was terrifying and deep, and the guy who was super lippy was probably like 20 and had a shit mustache. So it was a good time.
Love that. Did you get to see any of the sights and surrounds of the things that Wagga has to offer?
No, I got in there maybe an hour or two before the gig, sort of went, showered, did the gig, hung out, chat to like audience members. And then the next morning, yesterday morning, we went and had breakfast, went to Larry's Cafe, which, tell you, if you're in Wagga Wagga, absolutely
check out Larry's.
Elite.
Oh, I love that.
I had a chili scramble inside a croissant. They'd sort of like hollowed out the croissant and put this chili scramble with chorizo, and it was
all right. Larry's it is. Try that. My experience in Wagga, how many people after the show came up to put an arm around you and said, "Jeez, you're a funny cunt. You're a fucking funny cunt, man."
A lot.
Yeah.
It's always funny what audiences want to chat to you about as well. And so a lot of them were like, they like to talk about, oh, that bit that you did, or, oh, that's a sick reference, blah, blah, blah. But the things that, like, sometimes they catch you off guard. Like, I did the most hack opening, and admittedly it was hack, but I was just like, I'm tired. Let's just have some fun with it. And I did the whole, all right, I'm going to bring up the MC, start, banging your hands together for your MC, Jeremy Dooley. And I walked just like off stage and then walked straight back on stage. And they thought that was the peak of comedy.
Oh, really?
I reckon I had 8 people come up to me after the show and like, oh, well, how you did that opening, that was so funny. Oh. That was the hackest bit that I did.
And it was the top of the night.
They loved it.
Top of the night. Love it. I love Vlogger. I can't wait to get back up there.
I tell you, it's been a huge week in sport. A lot's happened.
Monster weekend. It was just weekend. You were traveling for a bit of it. So I don't know how much of it you caught, but it was all day yesterday on the couch just watching sport. I love it. Let's start off. Oh, we had some comments. So we did the top 5 athletes turned musicians last week. And someone shouted out on the TikTok, Robbie Doolin. Do you remember Robbie Doolin?
No.
He's like the jockey, and he was on. Is that my phone going up?
No, I don't know. Might be. It's not mine.
Sorry. Good stuff. I'll cut this out. I won't. But Robbie Doolin, he was the jockey that went on Australian Idol or something and dominated. Has the voice of an angel, but he's just a little small jockey fella. But anyway, that was one of the recommendations. So thank you, Jason Orr, for that. You got another one?
Yeah, I had someone. So it's because we, I think, put it on collaborative post on Instagram. Sometimes people slide into my DMs, and it was from. So I'm just bringing this up here. I didn't put it in the chart.
That's all right.
Strong and bold. Richmond fan, I'm guessing, by that. Great shout out for Sam Lalor, will be a Jet. Big raps on Josh Smiley. Cool. I mean, yeah, look, Sam Lalor, we'll probably get to him, but
we'll definitely get to him.
What a debut that was.
He was cock of the walk all day. He was great. We'll get to him a little bit later. And
keep the comments coming through though. It's always
love the comments.
Yes, and like actually like don't just leave an emoji. Like say something and we'll give you a shout out. We'll read it out.
We'll talk about it on the pod. And thank you to everyone who commented and whatnot during the week. Our man, this is kicking off the news. Gout Gout.
He is the man. He's quick.
Fastest 200-meter run this year of anyone on the planet at the very prestigious Queensland Athletic States Championships. A 20.05 200-meter blistering. He did run one under 20, but it was wind assisted. But I think Gout Gout, he might be the biggest star come LA Olympics for us. He'll be peak. He'll be 21-ish, something like that, ready to rock.
When are runners in their peak? Sprinters? I feel like it's a bit older than that.
Do you reckon?
I reckon, yeah.
Mid-20s?
Because it's... If I think about it, you got to get the strength in there, and so that takes a little bit. So I would say I'd almost say like late 20s, early 30s.
Late 20s,
He's got a while.
Yeah, okay. So he's probably got 3 Olympics in him.
Yeah.
One good one great one, and one I probably shouldn't have run this year.
When was the last good Aussie male sprinter? Because we've had like a few middle distance runners.
Yeah.
Some female sprinters and hurdlers and stuff like that. But the last Aussie male sprinter.
We had a good run in the 50s.
Yeah.
But Shervo's probably the only one to
and
really...
Shervo's more famous for his appendage than his running.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he never really did much. But we just don't have any people.
No, before Shervo was Dean Capobianco.
Yeah, big Kappa fan.
Yeah.
Certainly heard of him before now. Anyone else? It's not our game. It's not our thing. Fast
there was
for short periods.
Yeah, there was John Stephenson.
Oh,
but he was
good.
probably was that? Did you consider that sprinting? Like I thought he was 400.
Was he 400? I guess 400.
Like is that considered? When does it not be sprinting?
I think more than one lap.
Okay.
I've made that up. That was just a guess. I honestly, I 100.
Oh no, he was 200 and 400. So yeah,
he's a sprinter.
Yep.
What was the best he ever accomplished?
His personal best in the 200 was 20.79. So that's pretty quick.
20.79.
But when you're getting to that sort of like level, like that's Gout's just leaving him in his dust.
Certainly he is. I'm excited for Gout. Any other athletics stuff on the Gout, man?
I mean, you hope he doesn't get gout. That's probably the thing.
For someone named after a foot disease twice, he's pretty light on his feet.
It's that's I mean, if he did, imagine being a newspaper editor and finding out that he's got gout. You're just rubbing your hands together with the headlines.
Baby, back page, maybe something on the front page.
Oof.
Gout, out with gout.
Yeah.
Very good. Hey, did you see Stephen Adams and Mason Plumlee fight? Were you watching that game?
I wasn't. As a big Rockets fan, I caught the game recap though, and tell you, what is Plumlee doing? Picking a fight with pound for pound the strongest man in the NBA, and like Stephen Adams, like he had the double unders, and he thought, I'm just going to bring you to the ground just to give you a fighting chance, and still, Plumlee though. Dog. Plumlee's been just, getting a few forearms to the face for, his opponents in the last few games. So I reckon he'll see some time on the ground. But Stephen Adams, why would you do that?
No. Why would a plumber pick a fight with Aquaman? That's so dumb. I loved every second of it. I love Stephen Adams, the way he goes about it. But Plumlee, just all arms and legs. You'd never stood a chance. Gets the big tackle. He embarrassed himself and his family. It's
Mr. Puniverse versus Mr. Universe. That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And Houston won that one, right?
Yeah, mate. We've had a winning record for the first time in a few years, guaranteed. So I think since the 2018-19 season.
Last Harden season?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Harden was there.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, I liked it. Another win. We claim Stephen Adams as Australian, like we do with any Kiwi that's doing well. Liam Lawson, we'll get to the F1 in a bit. Still a Kiwi until he does something. Did you see this in the news?
McGilla Gorilla, Stuart McGil, who, look, I'm going to just say, very overrated bowler.
What? I was going to say the opposite.
Very over, because he bowled just some absolute horrendous deliveries that batters would just be licking their lips and they would try and hit the ball out of the stadium, and that's where he would get his wickets, because they would miss-hit the ball and either hit it to a fielder or just take a stupid rash risk and miss the ball completely. Whenever McGill got wickets, it was because of batsman error, not McGill skill.
Oh, I think he knew what he was doing. He knew it, just giving him a few pies. But yeah, I think he's underrated just because he was in the shadow of Warney for his entire career.
He was.
But yes, he's been done. He's been found guilty of one count of taking part in the supply of a prohibited drug. Did you read about this?
I know he's been in the news for some off-field shenanigans.
Yeah, basically was I guess a middleman for a big drug deal that went awry, and the people chased him for money. All this it wasn't a good look for McGilla. Apparently, he's a restaurateur, which obviously, if you're a restaurateur, you're definitely dealing coke. Particularly in Sydney. He got done as a middleman. Don't know what the sentencing is going to be, but it did make me think, and maybe next week's top 5, I'll do a bit of research, but the top 5 drug busts of Australian athletes. Because there's a few good ones.
There's definitely been a few there.
I think Sam Fisher's still in jail. Bomber Thompson had that big one. Who else?
Bomber Thompson, yeah. Sam Fisher, Bomber Thompson. There's a rugby guy. I feel like, obviously there would be a rugby guy.
Yeah, obviously.
Surely.
Obviously.
I tell you, going to the next point, Dante Exum, what's he done? Has he broken a mirror, walked under a ladder, punted a black cat? He is the most injury-prone Australian athlete.
His first season, he played 82 games, didn't miss a game, looked great. Just 18, 19 years old. All right, we've got a player. Ever since then, ever since that first season, he's just been constantly injured. apart from his little foray into Europe.
And that's the only time he hasn't been injured is in Europe as well. So it's, I don't know, is he made of paper mache? Like, what is it? Is it because his name's Dante and that's kind of a shit name? Like,
Could be.
Like, I don't know. A friend of mine just had a child called Dante. So, hello. But it's every time he's starting to get a bit of consistency. He's starting to play well. He's got a weird physique as well. So I don't know if that helps. He's got the ET sort of physique.
Yeah, I think that gangly kind of. He doesn't look like he's got any muscle anywhere.
He looks like a fit old man. You know, you see like a fit old man, and it's like, okay, for a normal person, you're probably not fit, but you're 75.
Yeah.
You're fit for 75. Dante Exum has that sort of vibe about him.
That vibe that he'd take 8 hours to play one round of golf.
Oh.
That kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think golf's probably, he'd do a hamstring if he played golf, Dante Exum. But he does hit the ground a lot. Like, I think when you watch him play, he's the player who's always getting up from lying down on the floor, and it's not because he's diving for loose balls. It's because he falls over a lot. So, I don't know.
Is he just unco?
Maybe.
Maybe he's just unco.
Maybe he's just a bit of an unco ET-looking basketballer.
Yeah, but he's out for the season with a broken bone in his hands. The Mavs, we don't really talk. We obviously focus on Australian, but it's tangentially Australian with Dante going out.
Well,
what a mess.
Now both of their Aussies are out.
I know. Both their Aussies are out. People they traded are going off. Josh Green just had a big game. This Luka Doncic guy looks like he's going all right in LA. Everyone's injured. Kyrie's out. Obviously, the other Aussie, AD, all their bigs, all their littles, they've got nothing.
Do you know, I feel sorry for Klay Thompson. Imagine that. You're like, yeah, I'm going here. I'm going to play with Luka. This is going to be great. You know, I'm going to, have that role again that I've had with Steph Curry. Bang, gone, bang, gone, bang, gone, bang, gone. And he's the last one standing of that team. That's not his team.
And the last one you would pick out of that entire team as well to still be standing. But it is an absolute mess. It's cursed. It's kind of... what was the Great Bambino curse when the Yankees traded the Reds? Yankees got Babe Ruth from the Red Sox, and the Red Sox went like 70 years without winning anything.
Yeah, sure. Something like that.
Oh, yeah, Josh Green. So Josh Green, like I said, season high 20 points for the Hornets on the weekend.
And I don't understand how Josh Green gets so many minutes because everyone's like, he's an elite defender, and he's not.
He's not?
I'd say he's just like, he's an average defender. Like, if he's getting minutes and, Matisse Thybulle's not.
Yeah, well, he's a bit younger, and also I think if Matisse was on the Hornets, he'd definitely be getting minutes.
True.
But he's long. He doesn't need the ball. He's not going to get the ball because he's playing with the ball. So I think, he doesn't need the ball much. He's going to play defense. He's going to play his role. He's going to miss 3-pointers when he gets it. But
corner three. He's 3 and D without the 3.
Yeah.
He's D.
He's C3 and D. Corner 3 and D.
Yep. Do you think if Josh Green played AFL or NRL, what sort of player would he be?
Wow, he'd be a bloody ruckman in the AFL, wouldn't he? What is he, 6'8"?
Probably. He's pretty tall.
Pretty tall, 6'8", athletic, elite, high marking, switch him forward. He'll take marks, kick goals, tackle.
He's 196, so he wouldn't be necessarily be a small ruckman, but
or a tall forward.
Yeah,
just play him up forward, full forward. He'll kick you 20 goals a game.
So I reckon he'd be like a defensive forward.
Oh, like you think a tall defensive forward?
If you were to take how he plays basketball and translate that into football, he'd be like a defensive tall forward who sometimes would kick some goals, but generally his work would be keeping the ball locked in.
He'd lead the league in shepherds.
Yeah. He'd be a tagger.
Yeah, I think he's pretty athletic. I think he'd go all right. I think anyone that's played, apart from maybe our next guy, who played AFL, Paddy Mills, inside midfielder.
Paddy Mills would be a jet at AFL.
Yeah, I heard he was. Ben Simmons, ruckman in the AFL.
See, Ben Simmons could play ruck in the AFL. Ben Simmons also, I mean, if he can't physically handle the NBA, he's going to struggle
True.
in the AFL. Imagine how little, like we're talking about Dante Exum, he would last one session at training.
That is true. There's no Kardashians for Ben Simmons to impress if he was playing AFL.
No, but it's a winter sport and he likes to wear like a skivvy. Yep. So AFL fashion's probably good for him.
Done. Still on basketball, Dooley leads the mighty Melbourne United with 16 and 11. They take a 2-1 series lead in the NBL finals. You've been following along, Dools?
A little bit. Look, Dooley, I'm surprised he's still able to do that. That's a career game for Dooley, 16 and 11,
16 and 11
in any competition. That is fantastic. He's got the ugliest looking jump shot.
Oh, that...
I don't know how he made it to the NBA with that jump shot and how he's had such a long career, but he's your grit sort of player. He's your glue guy. I tell you, if you had his physical durability in Dante Exum, you've got an all-NBA player.
Yes, that is a very, very good point. Memories of that final series where Dooley was one of my favorite.
Just following around Steph. Yep. I remember the after party celebration footage where it's like, J.R. Smith's shirtless, blah, blah, blah. They're all like got their big bottles of champagne and Hennessy and all that sort of stuff. And then Delly's just there with his tinny of Corona. Just yep. They've got all these like really elaborate sort of handshakes with LeBron. And then LeBron goes up to Dooley, shakes his hand. Yep. Very formal.
I like it.
Good country lad.
Love it. Where's he from? Marysborough?
Maryborough, yeah. It was a good bakery in Maryborough. I had a really good pie there once.
Yeah. Let me guess, they also had the Australia's best vanilla slice.
Probably.
To 1994.
Probably. I don't rate a vanilla slice though, so I would not be ordering that at a bakery.
You would never get
I'm not a vanilla slice guy. Caramel slice.
Oh, it's too sweet.
Absolutely caramel slice.
I can't go past a vanilla slice. If it's one of those things where it's the front of the whole bakery, it's just one giant picture of a vanilla slice and then it says winner of Australia's best vanilla slice or Victoria or the state. And then it's just an obscure year that's more than 20 years ago and they haven't changed it since. Like, I just can't. It's an award-winning pastry.
I'm not into it. And so like I'm on the road quite a bit. I do a lot of regional gigs. I love going to regional places, finding the bakery, getting a pie, and then I will get something else. And it's generally like, I reckon I've had 3 vanilla slices in my life, all in the last few years. Yeah. And every time I was like, I just want to give this a try. Like everyone raves about it. And it's always a letdown. I'm like, I should have got the caramel slice.
Not your thing. No. Lemon slice? Thoughts?
Look, lemon slice is underrated. Yeah, underrated. I wouldn't. It's not my first option, but I'd probably go caramel slice, hedgehog.
Yep.
Lemon.
Okay, fair enough. Hedgehog making a comeback.
Yeah, hedgehog. Say that right.
I like it.
With a pie though, you got to have it. That's got to be like the chaser to the pie.
I'm the exact same. Anytime I'm going to any gig, if I've got a best pie, do you have a best pie in Victoria? For these country gigs?
Where I was in a place. Hang on, I need to find this.
Mine is
Birchup Bakery.
Birchup Bakery.
They've got a Mallee Bull pie, and it's just they've got the Mallee Bull across the road, and it's a big statue with huge balls. There's a photo of me on my social media with that. But it's their pie was fantastic. They had a chunky beef. They called it the Mallee Bull pie, and it was good because you could like taste the meat in it. Good gravy to meat ratio. Good with sauce. Good caramel slice.
Love that. Mine, good caramel slice. My favorite is Tubarak Brewery. Mm-hmm. So anytime you sort of head north, if you go to Echuca or Heathcote or whatever, there's a little pie shop next to the pub. Best pies in Victoria. Highly recommend it.
What's your pie order?
There's usually 2. So a standard meat, and then I'll flex on the other one. So I'll change, but bacon, cheese.
Your standard plain beef. I like your steak, bacon, and cheese. I like a steak and pepper pie.
Steak and pepper, always good.
And a curry pie.
Yeah. They're probably my top 4 as well.
I don't mess with like chicken and leek or anything like that.
No.
Or I think it's
Chicken
in
can get stuffed.
Kyneton. They've got their the bakery that wins all the pie awards, but it's the scallop pie.
Yeah.
I'm not into that.
Pass. I tell you what, they don't do
pass.
it anymore, but at Toorak a few years ago, they had a rabbit pie.
Oh,
my God. That's my favorite pie of all time.
interesting.
Yeah.
Rabbit pie. Fennec, as we call it in Malta.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it. Minwoo Lee dropped from 1st to 16th on day 3 of the $40 million Players' Championship. I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened.
I don't even know what sport this is.
Okay, this is golf.
Yeah, that's why.
It's the fifth major. Minwoo Lee got caught, bad tee time, windy, lots of people tumbled down the order. But he's probably our best golfer at the moment, between him and Cam Smith. But yeah, we came into the moving day on the 3rd day, tied for 1st, and it's just had a stinker. I think a +6 and all the way down to 16th, which is a shame.
Does Greg Norman still play golf?
Not professionally, but he runs Live Golf basically now.
Huh,
He's their president or whatever.
I'm trying to think of Aussie male or just Aussie golf. Kari Webb.
Kari Webb was
Is she
great.
still playing golf?
She is not.
Okay. Ian Baker Finch.
He's commentator.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
IBF.
What about Ogle? Brett Ogle?
Scott Ogilvie?
Oh, that was
Jeff
the other
Ogilvie?
one. Yeah, Jeff. Brett
Ogilvie?
Sure.
No, I don't think so.
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott's still
Adam
going.
Scott, yeah.
He's actually playing quite well.
There you go.
Yeah. Adam Scott, Jason Day.
Jason Day. I thought that was the guy from Taxi Ride.
What the hell's Taxi Ride?
You know the band gets it.
Oh my God. Was he in Taxi Ride?
I don't know. I thought, or was that Jason Sings from Taxi Ride? There's a Jason, I think, in Taxi Ride.
I've not thought about Taxi Rides in 20 years. Did they have more than that song?
Who knows? Probably. I think they had one album and it was big, and then that was it.
That was it?
Yeah, but that's all you need as a musician is one album.
Yeah, you can tour off the back of that for decades. I don't know. If Taxi Ride were playing at the corner tonight, I don't know if I'd buy tickets, to be honest.
Probably not.
Yeah. You think about it. Free tickets, I might go.
But yeah. I wouldn't play golf with them.
With Taxi Ride?
No. I mean, maybe I will. Yeah, playing
I'd play
golf.
golf with them.
Yeah, I'd get in the buggy.
Yeah.
I don't like golf, but surely, they'd have some good stories from the road.
Yeah. Golf buggy ride.
Get set, everybody.
Love that.
Run away.
Oh, that song sucks, actually. Now you just reminded me.
Oh, they had another song.
They did not. Shut up.
Creeping up slowly. Oh,
they did have another song.
Was that them? Or was that Sugar Ray?
No, I think it was Taxi Ride. I don't know what it was called. But anyway, that's the last time we speak about Taxi Ride on this pod.
Sorry to any listener who now has that stuck in their
I'm
head.
going to listen to it on the way home. Their Spotify number's going to be pumping after this podcast. Hey, 6 Aussies, 100 medalists overall. They've had to return their Olympic medals as they are defective and deteriorating over time. Is this just more proof that the French are fucking lazy, Dooley?
Parlez-vous français? Woo! Yeah, they have dropped the ball here, haven't they?
Yeah, what do you do? I thought they were like master craftsmen or whatever. They should be good at jewelry and this kind of thing. But they've made all these dud Olympic medals that are just falling to bits.
So the French great at cooking.
Yes, give them that.
Great at croissants, like baking.
Yep.
Pastries.
Yep.
Great at surrendering.
Yes.
Not good at medals.
Not good at medals.
That's
pretty embarrassing, but like, it's the biggest achievement of these people, hundreds of people's lives, and then you've got these medals that are just like the bronzes flaking off and bloody.
The Olympics were in 2024. It wasn't even that long ago. It was last year.
No, it was a year ago.
It was last year.
But everyone's sending them because they're just like fading into dust.
Already. That is horrific. That is horrific. Okay, all right. I got some serious stuff here. Now, speaking of horrific, are you up to date? I know you're not as big a soccer fan as I am. The Socceroos Squad announcement.
I read a little bit about it, but lay it on me.
So at the last Socceroos Squad, or the squad before that, Popovich gave a big blast in the media to Melbourne Victory player Daniel Arzani and said his training standards weren't up to scratch. He came in there, was lazy, didn't offer anything. And since then, Daniel Arzani at Melbourne Victory has done sweet FA. Still got picked.
Oh,
still got
really?
picked. And so like Popper has picked this squad of like his favourites, his boys, a lot of guys that he's coached, whether that was at Perth or, Western Sydney or at Melbourne Victory, who are not in form. Arzani being one of them, Nishan Velupillay being another one, Adam Taggart being another one. When there's players who are in form, playing well, banging in goals, getting assists, doing the thing, can't get a look in. So like Nestori Irankunda, who's playing over, he's signed to Bayern Munich, but he's been loaned out into the Austrian First Division, got that his team's player of the month, just banging assists for fun, different player. You've got Noah Bodic, who is leading the league in scores. You've got Milanovic, you've got Segicic, all these players who are scoring goals, and now they're scoring goals and doing the call me celebration, or they're showing their name and like really holding it up to the stands. Like, Popper, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing?
So how does the selection? It's just him, is it?
Pretty much him and his coaching group, and he was probably not the best choice for coach. I think it was one of those things where Graham Arnold had sort of been surviving by the skin of his teeth for a very long time. The last World Cup probably gave him quite a lot of goodwill, but wasn't up for it. And Popper was like, we need to get someone, and we need to get someone quick at fairly late notice. Popper's free. Let's get him. And he's, it's a horrible squad.
A terrible squad. What are they playing for? What's coming up?
Just to clinch World Cup qualifying.
This is our World Cup qualifying.
So they're playing. Who have we got coming up? I think it's like Indonesia and someone. So they've got Indonesia and I think China coming up. Where we go here? China and someone else. Indonesia, I think. Really, they should have picked a squad. They need to win these, basically. So they've got Socceroos versus Indonesia on the 20th of March. Oh, that's this week.
Oh, my goodness.
In Sydney. We'll chat about that next week as well. I can watch that on Thursday night. And then against China on Tuesday, the 25th in China. But the team is terrible. Arzani shouldn't be in the squad. Brandon Borrello probably shouldn't be in the squad. Caceres, what has he done for me lately? You're starting to get players. Taggart shouldn't be in the squad. Tilio shouldn't be in the squad. Velupillay shouldn't be in the squad. Cassini Engi's played one game back from injury. Come on, Popper. What are you doing? Well done, though, to Nectar Trianis. He deserved to be picked. That was a good pick.
Did Archie Thompson make the team?
Archie Thompson probably, I'm surprised he didn't based on who Popper has picked.
Yeah.
Archie at least could score a goal and do a good celebration.
Love it. All right. I know nothing about soccer, but I appreciate the update. I'll be watching Thursday night. Where is it?
That is at Sydney Football Stadium.
There's a Sydney Football Stadium?
Well, they've got to name things differently because of naming rights. So in some tournaments when they play at Amy Park, they call it Melbourne Rectangular Stadium.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? To who?
To the global media, that's what it would be referred as in some sporting sort of.
Why can't they just call it Amy Stadium?
Because of their naming rights. And oh no, but that's not one of our sponsors.
Where did they land? How did they? Well, I know how they landed.
It's in Melbourne and it's rectangular. Yeah, it's a stadium.
Wow. Any other good? Sydney, what was it? Sydney Soccer Stadium.
Sydney Football Stadium. I'm not sure if that's Homebush, probably.
Probably Homebush.
Olympic Park.
And we're playing Thailand.
Indonesia.
Same thing. All right. That's it for soccer. I got a few. Footy's back. Dools.
Footy is back with a vengeance. Die Hard.
Did you get to watch any of the games over the weekend?
I did. So driving back Thursday night from the show, I was able to listen on the radio driving home to the last sort of quarter of the Richmond Carlton game, and then the little fella when I got home was up, so I just kind of was able to watch that. Surely that is one of the best round one games in recent history because no one expected Richmond to win a game. We both said straight away wooden spoon, and everyone's picking Carlton to be at the more like pointy end, and Richmond not just won but came back from being like 7 goals down and pantsed them.
I'm fitting to say that it was the greatest opening because we're not counting 0 round or whatever that was. That doesn't count as a
bullshit round,
stupid round. But yeah, I think it was the greatest opening match ever, just because of the context of Carlton. Most people had in the 8. Richmond, everyone has his wooden spoon. No one thought they'd be lucky. People were even saying they won't even win a single game this year just because of the talent. They got a lot of young kids, and then to come out, be getting their asses kicked. I switched off. I'm like, oh yeah, this is I don't need to see any more of this. And then at about the third quarter, my mate say, are you watching the footy? I was like, no. And then you just start watching this comeback. And I don't know. I haven't supported Richmond since probably the 2017 grand final. And this was the first time I was kind of like getting behind them.
And like also like the context before the game. So Richmond lost probably their top 4 players or 4 of their top 5 players last year. Dusty retired as well. Like, they've lost a lot of high-end players. Carlton, reigning Brownlow medalist. You got Mackay, big forward, Wiedering, big back. Kerno wasn't playing, but their list is just, very strong comparatively. I think Richmond, it was like a dozen players under 50 games, 3 playing their first game. And they just kept coming and bang, ran over the top of them.
Love it. I love it. I'm going to jump straight into it. He's our Aussie of the week. You made a prediction last week that he would win the Rising Star. Let's talk about Sam Lalor. What did you think of his game? First gamer?
Grown man. He's a grown man already.
He's a big boy.
He doesn't look out of place. And he, 18 touches, couple of goals, a lot of scorer involvements, but it was the little things that he did. It was not just how he got the ball, but what he did with the ball that was absolutely elite. He took a mark early on the wing, and I think everyone, even the commentators, like, whoa. It was just very nice, kept the ball moving. Players love him. He's hard at it. He was fantastic. Did well in the showers, like on and off field. He's kicking goals. Big shout out to my boy, the Chook, Jack Ross, as well for 28 touches, couple of goals. Best on ground, in my opinion. Should take the 3 votes, but Sam Lalor. Whoa. And like they had 2 other first gamers, Richmond. They had Lalor, they had Luke Trainer.
Killed it.
Who did a little bit of research. They thought he would go top 5 in the draft, but had a few concussion issues, so slid and just fell into Richmond's lap, and he looked very good down back.
Very comfortable.
Harry Armstrong got bugger all of the ball, but I tell you, I reckon if he keeps playing like that, opposition defenders will start to hear footsteps because he just came busting through packs.
Loved it. What did you? When was the last time you saw someone debut on a football field and got their cock out?
Oof. Dean Polo.
Dean Polo did? Did he? That was the highlight of the game for me. Just watching the social media reaction videos to his tackle falling out of his shorts after a goal. He was very excited about that goal.
Fair enough too.
Other big takeaway is the Saints still suck.
Okay, also just before we jump to the next game, the celebration from Seth Campbell, doing the soccer style celebration at the start of that, with the backflips and stuff, and then ending with a Stephen Curry good night in front of the Carlton cheer squad. That is some big aura.
I liked it.
Big dick energy from Seth Campbell.
It certainly was. I don't know. It was a bit. The flip was lame in any other context, but in the context of that game, I thought it was awesome.
Because he outran the play. He was behind the player, outran him, bang, late in the game as well. And then it's like also like, how do you have the energy to do that late in the game? You work a bit harder during the game.
Probably.
You probably don't need to do that, but then to give it the good night.
I loved it.
You're
happy? So you're happy?
Yeah, it was great. Yep, it's good.
Much better than that. Yeah, Saints suck. It was rough yesterday. We'll get into the F1 in a second, but like I said, I was on the couch watching sport all day yesterday, and we suck. Terrible. Fumbly. we haven't got any good players. Jack McRae's our best player. He couldn't get a game at Bulldogs last year. I mean, Adelaide looked fine. They definitely, they're up for finals this year. I think most people are predicting for them to make finals, but it was more glaring how bad we were than how good Adelaide was, which was a worry. I would have taken a competitive loss, but we were just fumbly, decision-making, just getting hands on the footy at the coalface, streaming through. Nothing worse than just watching opposition players run past everyone. So that was a rough one. I'll tell you who...
The word on the street is that St Kilda have thrown a bucket of money at Sam de Koning from Carlton.
1.7 million. I tell you, I was watching that game, and anytime TDK got tackled, I was like stressing. I'm like, don't hurt our boy. We need him for next year. 1.7 is a lot.
That's a lot of money.
But he is looking good. Max Gawn says he's the next great AFL ruckman.
Does Max Gawn say he's the next Max Gawn?
He should have. I love Max Gawn. I think I'd love to have the next Max Gawn as claimed by Max Gawn.
What else you got from footy? There's some big games, some interesting results. Probably the Melbourne GWS one was closer than anticipated. Melbourne.
I think Melbourne looked good.
Yeah, they played a lot of young guys in there.
Yeah. I think Melbourne are in good shape. GWS gave them a run for their money, and I think GWS are the best team in it. So I think positive signs from Melbourne, more positive from GWS. I think Gold Coast. I mean, they played against West Coast, so we'll learn more over the next couple of weeks, but they look prime and ready to go. They're stacked. That midfield's unbelievable.
As an absolute pantsing.
Yeah, Ben King kicked 6. My favourite non-St Kilda player, Ben Long, kicked 4. So that came out of nowhere. But again, you have to use an asterisk when you're talking about playing against West Coast.
I mean, then you look at Collingwood versus Port Adelaide. Like, that's another pantsing against a team that you probably think should be a bit higher up the ladder, Port Adelaide. But Collingwood, just a belting,
considering the week before they got pants themselves by GWS. Maybe it's taken a week for people to get in, but do you reckon Ken Hinkley will bank it throughout the year? What's the point?
I feel sorry for Ken Hinkley because he's been under pressure every year. Even when they're winning, he's still under pressure there. And it's because they've got that absolute muppet Koshy calling the shots, who's got no idea what how has that man been on television for so long? He's not entertaining. He's not interesting. He's a bit of a tosser.
Yeah.
Still, he's like Basil Zemplis. Like, how is that guy still like
the mayor of Perth?
He's a A-grade flog. Like him, how is him and Koshy like on TV? Like, they are absolute putrid wankers. But the amount of pressure Koshy puts Ken Hinkley on year after year after year. Imagine just supporting him and seeing what would happen then, instead of having Hinkley always having to look over his shoulder. Of course, Kenny Hinkley, very good footballer back in the day for Geelong and Fitzroy.
He played for Fitzroy?
I think
I knew he played for Geelong.
I'm pretty sure he played. He may have played for Fitzroy. He's been to Fitzroy.
He's played at Fitzroy.
Let's just double check this. He's from Camperdown. I knew that. Yeah, and Fitzroy. Yep, played for Geelong. And
how many games did he play for Fitzroy?
Oh, he played a few. He played 2 seasons at Fitzroy, 87 and 88. He played 11 games.
Cool.
21 goals, though, from those 11 games.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
And Fitzroy sucked around then, so they wouldn't be easy come by. I think the other big takeaway for me, Geelong still a great. Smith had a banger. He was best on. They got him for free in a pair of Cotton On trackies. And Fremantle is still dog shit.
And Fremantle, brought in Bolton. They thought, that was going to be the saviour and get them, over the hump there. And look, I think the Perth teams, you look at Fremantle, you look at West Coast, new coach, brought in some, senior players. They thought they would, be a little bit better than what they were. Bit disappointing. The Perth media would be going off right now too.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, it was Freo's chance to finally, apart from that one grand final season, their chance to kind of take the mantle and run the town for a little bit, and they just shut the bed, really. I mean, that was a bad loss.
I think my favourite Fremantle era was when they had Modra.
Yeah.
When Godra was there, like you have Godra, you have Clive Waterhouse there, McManus. Oh, what a champion team.
Who's your favourite, apart from Godra, because that's cheating, favourite Freo player of all time?
Quinton Leach.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
I knew that off the top of my head. All right, that was it for footy. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, let's get your review. It was a big day for you yesterday.
Oh, I was pumped for the F1 yesterday. I've been looking forward to it for months. It was going to be Oscar Piastri's coming out party, and he started off the weekend well. He was fastest in FP3, the third practice came FP3. So there's FP1, which is free practice one, and then sequentially goes up to 2 and 3. So
gotcha.
I watched all of them. I watched all the practices. Super keen for this one. Looked good in qualifying. Looked very good in qualifying. Came second behind Lando Norris. So a McLaren front end lockout. And obviously the other one we're keeping an eye on was Jack Doohan for his first or second official race, but first start to his season for nearly
Outback Jack. Do they call him?
No one calls him that. They call him Mick Doohan. There's a lot of crossing to Mick Doohan. Yeah. It's like he's not doing too well, but his dad was really good at riding motorbikes.
No.
But he checked out in P15 for qualifying, I think. So I think he just got out of Q3. But yeah, Piastri coming second. 34 degrees, sunny, hot on Saturday, and then it started pissing down yesterday, which changed everything up. Jack Doohan didn't make it through the first lap, Dools.
Wasn't doing well.
No, he wasn't doing well. That's very...
Didn't
Welcome
even
to the Budgy Smugglers.
make a lap.
Didn't make a lap. I'm guessing you didn't watch the race, by the way.
I got home from Wagga Wagga and turned the TV on. It was on. Doohan was already out, and the race had just started. And I was like, this is... I thought there was something wrong with the graphic on the screen. Like, no, he just didn't survive the first lap.
Well, he didn't do the worst because someone didn't make it through the formation lap. I forgot who it was. Hadjar. His first race. Couldn't even make it around the circuit once before he crashed. And then, first lap, Doohan's out. The narrative of the weekend with Team Alpine is they've got 2 backup drivers just sitting, looking over his shoulder, waiting for him to make a mistake. So it was not, after a solid qualifying performance, to not make it out of the first lap, I was shattered from the jump.
These guys are meant to be the best of the best of the best. And you have 2 guys, one guy doesn't even get to the start of the race. Like, surely he's not going to last much longer.
I can't imagine. Well, we'll see. It's the first race. It's their first race in the big time machines. But out of the 6 rookie drivers, 4 of them didn't complete the race, which is pretty embarrassing. And yeah, Doohan was out. He might not last too much longer. I think maybe 6 races max. But hopefully, because he did look good. He looked quick. He was keeping up with Gasly.
That quarter of a lap that he did, he looked great.
He was flying for the first couple of 100 meters until he crashed out. But the big news was Piastri, second place all day, keeping right up the rear of Lando Norris. And then towards the end of the race, rain started to trickle down and he just lost it and spun out with about 10 or 12 laps to go. The collective sigh of the crowd was the only thing you could hear over the loud F1 engines, and spun out, took him forever to get back on track, came out at 12th, ended up finishing 9th, I think. But it was very, very sad race. Good race, exciting. A lot of safety cars because of the rain, but the changing conditions made for interesting dynamic where anything could happen. So overall, it was a good race, but it was just with Doohan out in the first lap and Piastri hoping he could take the lead at some stage, just spinning out and losing it. Wasn't a great day for F1 Aussie fans, I think.
Does the rain make it a more entertaining race, or does it make it less entertaining because they're always having to stop?
It depends. It changes the whole dynamic of the race. Like some races in the rain are great. Some are terrible because they're boring, they're stopped, they're red flags. This one wasn't one of the best. It definitely wasn't a bad one, but it changes the dynamic. And if you're going into a race and you're thinking, Max is going to win, and then you got a pretty good idea. But when you introduce the rain, it adds a different dynamic and things can change.
Is there the Mark McGough equivalent. Mark McGough, of course, Collingwood midfielder, wet weather specialist.
Yep.
Couldn't play on a dry track, but in the wet, always best on ground. Is there a racing equivalent to Mark McGough? Who's the Mark McGough of F1 who rises to the occasion when it's wet?
There's not really, because Max Verstappen but he's like the Nathan Buckley, but just gets better in the wet. So he did well. He came second. I'm trying to think. There's been some I think it was Kevin Magnussen once in a Haas, or was it? Maybe him or Nico Hulkenberg won qualifying one year because they got a lap in, and then it started raining and no one else could. They had to close it, and he just kind of Stephen Bradbury, Mark McGough his way to the Anzac medal, so to speak. But there isn't one in particular that last year. Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon got a second and third in a wet weather race, I think in Brazil. It does equalise the field a little bit and lets the pure driving happen.
There you go. I've vagued out for the majority of that answer.
Fair shout. You asked a question. But yeah, that's it for the F1. Overall, fun weekend, but ultimately disappointing as an Aussie sporting fan.
Is Piastri good? Or is he just because he's Aussie and everyone's like, oh, we love him because he's Aussie, but he's not actually good?
No, he's good. He's good. He's young. It's only his third season. He's good.
It's not like a Demonor where it's like
he's just
they just love him because he's Aussie and he's the best of the Aussies, but Piastri's actually good.
No, Piastri's actually good. So, and we've got a history of sort of having only one good driver at a time. So Mark Webber, Daniel Ricciardo, now it's Oscar Piastri. Yeah.
Strong jawlines across that sort of, I don't know what Piastri looks like, but strong facial features in Mark Webber and Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit more timid in the facial structure region. So,
can grow into that.
Quiet assassin. He's still young. He's a little fella.
Tell you what, I'm excited for this bit. The random giddy stat of the week. I'm giddy for a giddy.
Yes, let's go. This is my favourite new segment that's just happened organically over the last 3 weeks.
We need to get him on the pod. We need to get Giddy on the pod. I don't know how we can do that. Well, let's get Warwick on the pod.
Yeah.
Warwick
we
Wazza.
Get him.
We'll get you on.
For sure, we can get him. Roll with it. This was one of the most randomest things I saw all week. I love these random Josh Giddey stats. You can roll with this one if you want to.
Okay. There was a big stat that was put out of and it was just a list of players that Josh Giddey has a higher 3-point percentage than. It's like you're really clutching at straws. So we've got Jason Tatum. I think we could refer to Jason Tatum as the Prince of Illawarra because his dad is the coach of the Illawarra Hawks the NBL. Yeah, that's his dad.
Really?
Yeah,
They're in the finals, aren't they?
Yeah.
I didn't know Jason Tatum's dad was coaching the Illawarra Hawks.
Yeah.
Breaking news on the on the Budgy Smugglers.
There you go.
Who knew?
I'd love to get some dads of NBA players coaching in the NBL. That would be fun. Like the next one, LaMelo Ball. Imagine getting
Lamar Ball as a coach.
Yeah, he would. I reckon Lamar Ball would coach. Is it probably like a Queensland sort of team? He's got that sort of
Cairns.
Like a Gold Coast sort of vibe.
Yep. I hear.
James Harden.
These names are surprising, by the way. Josh Giddey's got a higher 3-point percentage than them.
To be fair, every single player on this list takes a lot of 3-point shots.
And a lot more difficult ones.
Yeah, and has people defending when they're taking the shot. Whereas Josh Giddey, most of his shots are wide open with the defender being like, go for it. Luka Doncic, Jordan Poole, Tyler Hero, Paul George. What a bust of a pickup that's been for Philadelphia. And Michael, no one's sure, Bridges.
I mean, there's a pretty stacked list. So you've got to say, based on that Josh Giddey is officially better than all of them at basketball.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I'd probably have Giddey ahead of at least 2 or 3 of those players.
You'd have him ahead of Paul.
Yep.
You'd have him maybe ahead of Harden at this stage of his career.
No, I would say ahead
Definitely Paul George.
Yep.
And
Paul George, Tyler Hero.
ooh, the All-Star.
Yep, I'd have Giddy ahead of him.
How?
He just doesn't do it for me.
He's a bit of a wanker. Is that why?
I think, when Armen Thompson just grabbed him and threw him down like a rag doll.
That was pretty funny.
And then Tyler Hero was like, yeah, look out, but it's like, no, mate, you got ragdolled. Like, just sit down.
Yeah. Sit down. Shut up. All right. That was the random Giddy stat of the week. My new, I can't wait to find one. These things find me, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to search for them. You're not like typing in random things that just constantly come up with these random ass things. But yeah, so last week it was, 2 weeks ago, he had his stat line that only Magic and Larry Bird had. Last week, it was a stat line only Michael Jordan has. And this week, he's saying he's better than Mikal Bridges, Paul George, Tyler Hero, Jordan Poole, Luka Doncic, James Harden, LaMelo Ball, and Jason Tatum.
The Prince of Illawarra.
I love it. I can't wait to see what's next. Hey, we've done that.
I would love to see a 2-on-2 while we're talking about, like princes of Aussie basketball and, the dads of. Like you could get Jason Tatum and his dad 2-on-2, Josh Giddey and Warwick Giddey.
I'd like to see that.
What a game.
Who would be would it be the Currys?
The Currys would certainly have to be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, Dal Curry was good shooter. Old Wardell Curry.
Yeah, I like it. I think that'd be the best. Or, no, that's it.
What about Gaze? You got Andrew Gaze, Mason Gaze.
Who's Mason Gaze? You'd probably be better with Lindsay.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right, cool. I've got a big question for you.
All right.
I want to hear your thoughts on this. There's a new Saudi-backed 2020 cricket league in the works. So we've seen Live Golf has been a monster success. There's that Saudi-backed soccer league. They've got Messi and all this kind of stuff. There's that UFC boxing coming. The UFC boxing thing. You saw that announced in the last week or so. Basketball's in the works. Maverick Carter is looking to start up a sort of a super league that's Saudi-backed. First, your thoughts on all of this?
I think the Saudis have a lot of money and they don't know what to do with it. So they're just rolling it in entertainment and in sport. Great.
I'm for it.
I think, the sports that they pick have to be indoor sports because when they're doing an outdoor sport, it is like I don't know if you've ever seen a highlight of their soccer league, but it is just like so slow.
Yeah.
Because it has to be because it's 4,000 degrees there. So it's got to be an indoor sport. As long as it's indoor. Golf, even golf.
It's a bit much. But these are world sports based out of Saudi Arabia. So, like for the basketball, there might be an Aussie team, which will get us very excited at the Budgy Smugglers. There might be a Paris team, that kind of thing. But that was my question. Which sports do we want to see with a Saudi-backed league?
Well, that's a...
Obviously excludes all women's sports. It's Saudi Arabian, but is there a sport that you think is floundering a little bit that could use a bit of Saudi money to reinvent it like they've done with boxing, for example?
When you think about like what could money do, and so you watch the Olympics as an example, and always in the Olympics you'll get a few articles and news stories about like, oh yeah, but now I've got to go back to my job because I don't have the funding, I don't have the money, blah, 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 blah. I would like to see the Saudis get behind the Winter Olympics.
Okay, yes.
Because nothing says Winter Olympics and snow more than Saudi Arabia.
100%.
And that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see them get behind the one where they go and they go through the air, the long jump, but on skis, whatever that one is.
Is that the one where they shoot? Have you seen that one where they jump?
Well, they shoot them out of a cannon.
No, that would be sick.
That would be awesome.
Thing. But isn't there like something where they jump on skis and then they've got a gun and they've got to shoot shit?
That sounds amazing. I would love to see that in any sport.
Yeah.
Just bring guns into sport. That would be the great equalizer. I'd like to see like my algorithm is also bizarre with like martial arts stuff. I'd like to see Saudis get behind some of those like open weight battle royale MMA fights. Yep. Oh, imagine that. You've got like a straw weight and a heavyweight going up against each other, but there's also 10 other fighters in there. That would be cool.
What's that like Russian basketball / Greco-Roman wrestling
That's
thing?
pretty intense.
Where
Yeah,
there's
they
just
gotta take this top off and then
you're trying to take a 3-pointer and you get German suplex. I like that.
That would be wild. I think the Winter Olympics is the way to go though. Like no one cares about the Winter Olympics in Australia, and really
never once.
Only in like Canada and Europe do they give a shit about that. But hey, get some of these people from
Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean they got a bobsled team.
Yep, so exactly.
You know, bring back John Candy. Like maybe they should spend their money reviving him.
That'd be good. I'd watch a John Candy, what do you call that, reincarnated or whatever, leading a Jamaican bobsled team.
Hologram even. Like they did with Tupac at Coachella all those years ago.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I'd love winter sport. I mean, they've got the sand there. Sand is basically hot snow. So anything they can do on snow, they could probably do on sand.
I've gone sandboarding before, on which you use a snowboard. They're doing it in Chile, in South America. Why can't you just bring that? Sand games.
Create the sand games. Yeah.
That'd be good. You can have like castle building.
The desert games.
Sandboarding. So what are those things? Like an, four-wheel drivey thing. Sorry, this doesn't.
Oh, what are you doing?
I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Sand games.
Or the instead of like a snowball fight, like a sand fight. It's like, there's so many
fun things you can do at the sand games.
Get the sand involved.
Yeah, I think, do more sand. All right, I've got another top 5 list still.
Okay, here we go.
Do you want to hear this one? So just because the Formula One was in town.
Yep.
And I know you don't watch this, so I'm interested to see your thoughts on it. There's Drive to Survive, the Netflix show. It's a phenomenon. It helps with the popularity of F1, its growth. It's definitely helped me get into it more. And I've just seen this more and more over the seasons, that they're really struggling. There's 10 episodes, 7 seasons, that's 70 episodes.
Jeez.
They're really struggling to come up with names for these episodes, and they're starting to get more and more pun related as the seasons go on.
Love it.
So this is my list, the top 5 Drive to Survive episode name puns. Strap yourselves in.
Am I going to understand these puns?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll explain them to you along the way. So this was kind of the first really good one. I think it was season 3, episode 9, and the episode was called Man on Fire.
Did someone's car get caught on fire?
Yeah.
Great.
You see what they did there?
A genius.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. They get more genius as we go through. Man on fire, someone caught on fire. And that was the whole episode. And it was great.
Denzel Washington and Christopher Walken, were they involved?
I think Denzel was there.
Great.
Yeah. And he got an executive producer credit. All right. Number 4. This is a 3-way tie. Mm-hmm. So the first 3 seasons, season 1, 2, and 3, all their episode 10s. These were the names of these episodes. Crossing the Line. That's season 1 episode. Season 2 episode 10. Checkered Flag. And then this one, you could tell they were like, fuck, we nailed the first 2. And then season 3, it was Down to the Wire.
It was because it was close.
Because it was close, Dools. Yep. It was close. All right, this is when things really start to get good. All right, there's season 4, episode something. It is called Dances with Wolf. Dances with Wolf.
Because a wolf got on the track and caused a crash.
Close. The leader of the Mercedes F1 team's name is Toto Wolff. And this was around the time where Valtteri Bottas was going to get kicked out of the team and replaced by George Russell.
Russell.
Yeah, so they were dancing with Wolf.
Yep.
You get it?
Yeah, that's cool.
His name's Wolf, and there's kind of a dance, like a contract dance, and they've gone dancing with Wolf.
I think as well that also works for this segment because the movie Dances with Wolves goes for way too long.
Yes. So did this dance. All right, these are great. And we're getting into number 2, season 7, episode 5, Le Curse of Leclerc. So the episode's about Charles Leclerc's curse at Monte Carlo, his home race, how he could never win it. He kept getting into crashes. So instead of saying the curse of Leclerc, they went Le Curse. Genius. Of Leclerc. It's like French for the.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, that's good.
This is good stuff. This is what I'm saying. Season 7, they're really going.
Yeah. They're really digging deep here.
Yeah. All right, this is my favorite one. This is this season again, season 7, episode 4. So there's a race car driver. His name's Carlos Sainz. He's a famous sporting family. His father was a rally champion, and he was out of contract last year. And so the name of the episode was Carlos Sainz, but they instead of Sainz, it's spelled Carlos Sainz, Signs, because he signed a contract.
Yeah,
but his last name's Sainz. But then if you write it differently, it sounds the same, but it means different things because he signed a contract. Did you get that, Dools?
That was Dances with Wolves. That was rough. They're really doing some work there. Well done for you for watching all of those episodes.
Least I could do. So, just to recap them, number 5 was Man on Fire. Number 4 was a 3-way tie between Crossing the Line, Checkered Flag, Down to the Wire. Number 3, Dances with Wolf. Number 2, Le Curse of Leclerc. And number 1, my personal favorite, Carlos Sainz.
Thank God that bit's over.
It did go long, and wasn't that funny? I'm going to clip it up and make it look good, though.
Let's Aussie legend for the week.
Yes.
So obviously, Richmond doing well all of a sudden and winning against all odds. I'm the Aussie legend. A bit of a left field one here is Brendan Gale.
Okay.
Doesn't get enough credit for what he's been able to do. So this is a guy who was drafted out of Tasmania, but came to Richmond, had a very long career as a ruckman and centre half forward, very good for his, defensive marking down the line, became a lawyer, became very high up at the Players Association and at head office at AFL, then became CEO at Richmond or whatever his title was there. And I remember he came out and said, Richmond, we're going to win a couple of flags. We're going to get, a shitload of members. We're going to do all this sort of stuff. And everyone laughed at him. And then Richmond went out and did it. And now he's gone, he sort of wrapped up at Richmond last year. Now he's gone to Tasmania. I tell you what, that man, everything he touches turns to gold.
Gold.
Midas touch, Brendan Gale. And so he's going to Tassie. Now, Tassie, I don't know if you've spent a lot of time in Tassie. So it's a weird state because everyone's like, oh yeah, Tassie, they'll all get behind it, but it's like a very parochial, divided state between the north and the south. But Brendan,
Game of Thrones.
It is. Winter is coming.
Even more inbreeding.
Except in Tasmania, it's always winter.
Yeah,
it is so cold there. Even when it's hot, it's still cold. You've got the absolute heavyweights like Jackie Lambie there and, like Jack Rewalt's from there. A lot of Jack related sort of things. But Brendan Gale, the absolute unsung legend there, he's in charge of the new Tassie team that's going to be brought into the AFL. Guaranteed they'll be successful.
Guaranteed.
Sooner rather than later. There's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of players who don't like going up to the mainland. They'll get behind it. And, it's also good because any sort of club function is a family reunion.
There you go.
There we go. We got one in there. So that's who I think is the Aussie legend. Just, in honour of like Richmond sort of rising up against the odds this week and beating Carlton. And he left the club with all of the things that they need, a lot of draft picks, money in the bank, stability, blah, blah, blah. Now he's gone. Watch him do it again.
Great job, Brendan Gale. I love that for Aussie legend. Good call. All right, it's time. Your favourite part of the show. I'm more and more, as I put this together, I'm more and more put it together with you in mind and just things that are going to annoy you.
Yep.
So I think I'm doing pretty great at it.
Yep. I think you should just read them out. Like it should be just you doing the reveal.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a part of it?
Yeah, you just
want to read and you just want to react?
Just give me the reveal.
Yep. All right. So in number 10, we've got number 10, the Power Rankings, top 10 Aussies of the week in sport. You're going to love this, Dools. At number 10, they're in the finals. It's Matthew Dellavedova.
Okay.
You like that
Yeah,
one?
I don't know. Yep, they're in the finals. All right. So
16 and 11.
really, it depends on who's next after that. So like they're in the finals. He had a good game. You want everyone else to be like, yeah, at that level at least. If he's number 10, just scraping in there, then the next 9 have to be winning things in the finals, tearing it up, good stat lines.
Relevant, done something relevant in the last week.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're going to be fucking pissed off because it's Jordan Mailata. Still, you can't just drop out of the top 10. You got to pace yourself out there. I know he hasn't done anything in about 6 weeks. However, in terms of power rankings, he's one of the 10 most powerful Aussie athletes in the rankings.
Jack Doohan did more in the Grand Prix than Jordan Mailata has done recently.
That is true. That is true. Well, speaking of people that didn't do much, in number 8, it's Oscar Piastri.
Look, I'm going to say this might be controversial, but I think that's a little bit stiff because he did well before the race. He could go, he could float. He could go higher depending on who's next on the list. But, he did well in qualifying. That's got to count for something.
That's why he's in here because, he scored points at his home race. Ideally, he would have finished a lot higher.
Where did he finish?
9th.
So he's higher in the power rankings than he is in the race.
I mean, if you want to get technical and count, yeah.
Yep.
He'll be number 1 next week. Anyway, in 7th place, it's your personal favourite. You're a big fan of hers. It's Molly Picklum.
On you, Molly.
She's still in there. I think you still don't know who she is. She's still second. I don't think they've done any surfing.
A surfer. She's a surfer.
She is a surfer.
I know that much now.
All right, you're going to love number 6, though.
Okay.
So nice. They named him twice. It's Gout Gout. Come on. I think so. If you're the fastest man in the world this year at something.
How is he not higher?
What do you mean?
Based on that he's the fastest man in the whole world, not just Australia, at something. How is he number 6?
Number 6 because it was at the Queensland State Championships. It's not exactly prestigious.
That's fair. I mean, it's like who's he going up against?
Exactly.
Like Jono.
Yeah. They'd be like asking the guy that mows the lawn there to can you fill in? We've only got 7 runners. 6 of them are white. They've got no chance. All right, number 5. You like this one. I don't know what she's done in the last week or so, but I'm sure it was great. It was Mary Fowler.
Future GOAT. Big fan.
Like that one?
Big
Mary
fan.
Fowler.
Yep.
I think that's a good one. And number 4, she's dropped down for the first time in a while. She's lost the World Championship, but it is WrestleMania season. It's Rhea Bloody Ripley at number 4.
Yep.
Happy with that?
Yep. I think that, she dropped the belt. She's still like the best thing that's come out of South Australia. So, that's fair. I mean, I probably still would have put Gout Gout a bit higher and probably Dooley still a little bit higher, but
Dooley
that's all right.
higher than Rhea Ripley?
He's winning things, Dooley.
That's true. And Gout Gout, I don't know. I feel like I've got him too high. At
Gout
6.
Gout won the world. Like he's fast. No one is faster than
No one has run. I don't know who else has run this year in an official. Maybe
is that the
only
first race of the year?
It could have been the first race of the year.
Race of the year.
Yeah. So, oh wow, you went faster than the guy that won the New South Wales track. He probably did a 27.8.
Have they done the stall gift yet?
That's Easter. That's coming up.
That's coming up. Does he do that?
I don't know. Could he? I'm sure he could. He'll have to run the full 200 meters. They'll put him on that marker.
A handicap.
All right. In number 3, you'll love this one, Dools. Only time he'll ever appear in this power rankings, I think. But it was just a big week. He was all over the news from the AFL, from the Richmond Tigers. We've got Sam Lalor, 3rd in the power rankings.
What a debut from Sam Lalor. Like absolute just duck to water. Came in, broken jaw a couple of weeks ago.
Huge.
Concussed a couple of weeks ago. Comes out there, kicks goals, gets his old fella out and just like dominates. So but the commentators were giddy, not Josh, but just giddy generally with the works of Sam Lalor there.
Yeah.
Every time he went near it, they was like, Thank God Bruce McAvaney. Is Bruce McAvaney still commentating?
No.
But geez, if he did, he'd be all over Lalor.
Oh, he would. He's salivating at what he saw on Thursday night, I think. Speaking of Giddy, at number 2, I've put him up here. You've been campaigning for this for a while, but in number 2, we've seen all the names he's been compared to. Number 2 on the power rankings is Josh Giddey.
At some point, ESPN's going to release a stat being like Josh Giddey has featured in more top 10 Aussie power rankings from the Budgy Smugglers, more than Michael Jordan and LeBron and all that, and they would be accurate.
It would be accurate. That is true. He hasn't had a stat compared to LeBron yet.
No.
There'll be something next week.
It's because LeBron doesn't compare to Giddey.
Yeah, that's right.
Giddey's in a league of his own.
Mentioned in that one breath. And in number 1, the GOAT, still 3 weeks in a row atop the power rankings, Dools. Only because I know it really frustrates you. It's Alexander the Great Volkanovski.
Jeez, when is his fight?
It's soon.
Because look, I love Volk. I say this every week. I love Volk, but he hasn't done anything lately.
He's fighting for a championship.
Yeah, hasn't fought. So
we're gonna have to. It's coming up in less than a month. The 13th. Oh, it's a Sunday too during the comedy festival, so I won't have a gig on. Oh, you're doing Sunday gigs?
I'm doing Sunday gigs. Thursdays through Sundays for a month.
But yeah, he's got to fight in 3 weeks or so for the World Championship. That's huge.
If he wins, absolutely number 1. If he doesn't win,
he's going to be 1+. He's going to have to move up. He's out.
He's and how come old mate
Dallas fights later.
Yeah, but why is he not in the top 10 if he's fighting for it as well, for a belt?
Who's he going to knock out? Molly Picklum?
Yeah. Or Jordan Mailata?
Or maybe he might come in for Jordan next week.
Rhea Ripley's lost the belt. She's in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's WrestleMania season. Also, you'll be happy. I did this for you. I almost kept him in there just to piss you off again. But Alex Diminure dropped out of the top 10 for the first time.
Well deserved.
Also, Travis Bizana was a one and done in the power rankings.
Yeah, I forgot that person existed.
So did I until this morning when I redid the power rankings. I was like, who the fuck's Travis Bizana? But they're the power rankings. What would you rank that out of 10?
I'd say this is probably your best one.
Really?
And it's still got issues with it. Volk shouldn't be number 1. Rhea shouldn't be number 4. Mailata shouldn't be in it. Everyone else you can make a case for. Like, I'd put Giddey at number 1. I'd put Gout. I'd put Gout at number 1.
Gout at number 1.
Giddey can stay at number 2. That makes sense. Delhi's too low based on the week he's had there in the finals. Piastri is somehow higher in the power rankings than where he finished in the actual race. That doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of issues there.
I kind of dig it.
That is just putrid.
All right, that's it. Anything else you want to discuss?
No, what do you got on this week? Where are you?
No idea. I think I might be at Lido tomorrow. I'll be at Goffs Wednesday. I'll definitely be in Geelong on Friday. It's the last ever Friday night at the brewery.
Yeah.
Jules, which is a bit sad. Are you at that one?
Very sad. No, I'm not this week. I'm where am I this week? I'm in Adelaide, playing at the Rhino Room on Wednesday night. Sold out show, so sorry. Thursday night, I'm in Newcastle for a corporate, so you can't go.
Yep.
But that'll be great. And then Sunday in Castlemaine for Castlemaine Fringe Festival. There's still tickets available.
That reminds me, this Sunday I'll be in Castlemaine for the Castlemaine Fringe Festival with Dools.
So that'll be good. So that'll be sort of the last sort of run through of my comedy festival show. So just, there'll be a couple of other things that I'll sort of throw in there, but generally that's what that's going to be. So come check it out. Playing at the Fringe Hub Sunday at 9 p.m.
Sunday at 9. We've got a late shift.
It is a late shift.
Looking forward to that.
So that'll be hopefully we're not recording very early Monday morning, but hey, if we are, we've got a lot to talk about. So that'll be great. And then comedy festival kicking off soon. So tickets
next Wednesday.
Yeah. I kick off on the Friday the 28th.
Yep. Is that next Friday? Yeah, next Friday. So
yeah.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So tickets are still available for a lot of the shows, but not all of the shows. So I think there's tickets on Thursday nights are pretty available, and Sundays, most Fridays and Saturdays are chockers. You might get a couple left. Jeremy Dooley, official.com.au. sportsbet.com for tickets.
That's it. And follow at Stephen Bradshaw Comedy on all the socials. You'll see what I've got on every single day. Get some tickets. They're selling like hotcakes. Pump for us. We've got a big week.
Big week.
Week.
Should be good. It's sad about the brewery shutting, about them like leaving the gig there and doing stuff. It's been a institution.
It has been. I really cut my teeth. As you know, 2024 Geelong Comedian of the Year, as you all know. But they're moving across the street. Gonna be bigger, better than ever. Got some big shows coming up there with some big headliners. I'm sure they'll announce officially soon. So I'm kind of pumped for it. Bigger and better things in Geelong.
Should be good. Should be good. So get around it if you're in G-Town on Friday night at the brewery, Little Mallup Street.
Yes, come there. It's the last one at the brewery. It's going to be fun. It's going to be wild. They're going to be giving out lots of shots, I assume, and then come watch WrestleMania.
That's right.
It's a big one.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Well done, Dools.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.